Hey guys, welcome to the Work the Web interview series where I shine the light on different strategies you can use to help you grow your business online in a way that makes sense for you. So there isn't only one right way to take advantage of the online world. So I'm interviewing 11 experts that each focused on one thing, and that one thing helped them grow their business in ways that they couldn't even imagine. So today I'm here with our special guest, Anna from thesheapproach.com, and we're going to be talking all about how she creates and sells ebooks online in a way to generate passive income for her business and grow her business. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself really quick in case you're new around here. So I'm Mariah, a website strategist over at mariahmagazine.com, where I work with online business owners to help them get more website traffic and improve their SEO by creating a website strategy that's unique to their business goals and their ideal audience. So Anna, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me, and you guys should check out all her other videos because they're mind-blowing. But my name is Anna, and I'm the blogging growth strategist and the coach behind The She Approach, where I basically help women and either bloggers or solopreneurs grow their online visibility, and meaning while doing that, they are supposed to also grow their online income, which is super important because otherwise you actually have a business or not. So that's something that I teach, and I'm super passionate about passive income especially. And I also teach them how to grow and kind of boost their website traffic and get those leads and interested customers.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we do, like on the outside, it might look like we kind of do similar things, but like you really focus on different aspects that I don't focus on. So it's actually like we complement each other really well, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in the online business world?
So I started my blog about almost 3 years ago, and it was actually just like a CV enriching skill for university. Actually just like I'm a
like it literally, you started it because like you had to for school?
It was a kind of a suggestion more than you just have to, but I thought it was basically would look really well. And I'm actually studying, and I'm about to get my degree. I just finished with everything.
Congratulations, by the way, that's so exciting.
Super excited, but I was studying media and communication, and while learning it, I was like, it would be super cool if I could actually apply this rather than just, kind of theoretically think about it. So I thought having a blog, a platform, and then learning how to market that would be just a great experience and would just look good. So I started my blog that way, and it just like transformed into something completely different. I was like all in at one point. I took an entire year off university just to focus on growing that and growing my online business.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, last year was crazy, and I've seen amazing growth, but I definitely didn't do it full time from the beginning. Like I just stepped into it and I just loved it so much that I was like, yep, that's definitely what I want to continue doing. So it wasn't a matter of just finishing university really quickly. But yeah, it's been like a really great journey so far.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow, that's really, really cool. Yeah, okay, so how long have you been like technically in business for?
Well, I first started like a free WordPress blog, and that was like a bit over 3 years ago. And then in like September of 2016, I was like, oh, I'm starting like a proper blog. I did loads of research on it and like everything that it meant, but the point where you actually invest in it is kind of the point where I consider it having being like, the start of a business. And even from there, it wasn't definitely like a business. It was more like a lifestyle blog that transitioned again into something completely different because I was studying everything that I was putting into the blog. And then I just started sharing like my findings, like, how I made my first affiliate sale, or how I branded my blog, or my strategy for it. And I started sharing that, and people just love that. And I realized I don't really want to write about my life. I was really interested in the strategy and my findings and everything that I was learning in university and then applying. So I just completely like switched focus and kind of transitioned into like a blogging strategist from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's like you tested the idea, like but it kind of like fell into your lap and tested the idea. And then you were like, whoa, holy crap, this is pretty awesome. I actually love doing this, not just for school, but like for me. And then it's like you just kept like testing and tweaking and like following what you were more interested in, which I think is a huge part of business, is like, instead of going into it like, I'm going to blog to make money, it's like, I'm going to blog about things that I'm passionate about. And if the money comes, then that's great. Maybe I can do this full time. But right now I like it enough to have it as a hobby or to have it as like a side hustle type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But to be honest, I definitely came into it with the idea of I'm at least going to make my money back, which obviously happened. So I was like, you know, if other people made money with it, I wanted to find out how can I make this like, because PR and what I was studying is a lot about, you know, bringing a profit for the brands that you work with. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to like bring a profit or at least make my money back just so I can show that it's possible. So that was definitely my, you know, in my thoughts somewhere there.
Yeah. And like testing these own strategies that like you're coming up with so that you know for sure, like, hey, like I've done this myself. I've seen the results. That's really awesome. Has it always been smooth sailing, or did you run into like hiccups, problems, like growing pains when you were like first starting or like transitioning?
Oh my God, so many. Yeah. I used to read a lot of income reports because they were so inspiring and I just love to see what's possible out there. And it just seems like those bloggers just got like straight out there, no issues whatsoever. So I was like, how do people do this? It took me 4 months to make my first like $7 blogging.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't happen overnight.
Yep. A lot of that, a lot of changing ideas, what I was going to focus on, what I was going to teach people, and just even in applying kind of my own strategies and what I thought, okay, this is how you're supposed to do blogging or online marketing. My first like ebook launch, for example, I looked at the numbers today because I was just mentioning it in the email and I wanted to give people an actual representation of how much my first ebook launch made. It was a whooping $131.
Oh man.
Yeah, I sold 9 copies. And I remember at the time, I didn't feel like, oh my God, this is a fail. I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like, I was,
people just paid me.
Yeah,
like,
for something I created, like out of thin air. Like people paid me for like my expertise and stuff. And I remember not thinking of it as a fail necessarily, but I was like, oh, I have to improve this for the next ebook launch, which like made me over like $2,000 in a week. So
yeah, and that is quite a difference there.
Yeah, but it's definitely a process that I learned a lot, like through everything that didn't go as right as I wanted to, and I definitely didn't grow as fast. I was like, of course, studying full time and kind of working like also another job besides this, but I just wanted to see what's possible, and like, yeah, it took a lot of resilience more than anything else to get things going.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the best things in life do take a lot of resilience.
Yep.
So how did you come up with the idea to start selling ebooks? Because I mean, like, I know online there's so many ways that you can make money from your blog. So how did you choose ebooks?
I definitely tried them all the ways that you can make money. And there are like 2 that I focus on at the moment, which are affiliate marketing and then digital products. But I think it was another case of following the breadcrumbs. So I always wanted to be an author. I had this idea from when I was young that I was going to be an author, and I never knew what I was going to write about. I didn't think like science fiction was really my thing, or that I was going to write about my life, because I was like, nobody wants to read that. But when I got started teaching blogging, I just loved it so much. So writing about it was so natural to me. And I wanted to help other women, and I wanted to help other bloggers who were just getting started. And like video, I remember in the beginning being so terrified of being on video. So something like this was just like out of question. I was
yeah, for sure.
Into people. Plus I didn't really have like the expertise or resources to do like all this. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with what I'm best at, and I'm just going to write. So I saw other bloggers selling digital products, and it was mind blowing to me that you can self-publish. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I just created my first ebook in like Word, and then transformed it into a PDF, and then learned all the little kind of the cheapest ways that you can do it, but that make it still look like kind of professional. So people are not just getting a Word file in their inbox when you're sending the ebook over. And that's how I started selling ebooks, basically.
Yeah, so you basically combined all of the things that you like and found like the best solution in order to solve people's problems in a way that also worked for you.
Yep.
Perfect. What's your favorite part about creating and selling ebooks?
I think I love writing blog posts, but there's only so much you can teach in a blog post.
Yes. Yeah, I feel very similar about that because I personally love writing blog posts too. And then it's like, wow, I could go on 1,700 different tangents about like what you should focus on next, what you should have done before this. And it's like, it's a solid chunk that helps people, but it's not the full idea that's going to get them these insane results that is possible.
Exactly. So I just wanted something that gets people from wherever they are now to where they want to be, or at least where I could get them to. You know, my ebooks are never about something that I haven't achieved already. So like my first ebook was about boosting your blog traffic, and it was more about helping new bloggers get to their first 50,000 page views, which was something that I had achieved at the time. And ever since, of course, my traffic grew and I actually updated the ebook and stuff. But it was just like teaching people how to get to where I've like already gone to. So it's like I just wanted something that will get people through that without them having to go outside of it to look for resources. And whenever I would write blog posts, I was like, oh, wait, you don't know about this thing, check out my other blog post. Yeah. Which is a whole journey of like, you know, spinning people around and making it a bit confusing. I just wanted something that has kind of a narrative to it. And ebooks do that.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, for sure. Ebooks. It's like the whole package. It's like you would otherwise have to write literally like a blog series about this idea and then hope that people are following the entire series and aren't coming in at like stage 5 when they miss stage 1 through 4. So ebooks kind of put everything all together and like here's your problem, this is the solution, and then kind of walk them through the process to get there.
Exactly.
Let's say that like an online business owner or a blogger was thinking about creating an ebook. What's the very first thing that they should do?
Write an ebook that your audience wants or needs rather than an ebook that you want to write. That's something that I almost learned the hard way because I was so in love with the idea of writing ebooks and selling ebooks that I just chose a topic out of like thin air that I wanted. And then I had to backtrack and think about, this is just something that I want to write. So I actually made sure to validate my idea. So I know my first ebook launch wasn't successful, but it had made me money since. It was just only a matter of learning how to sell that ebook, which is an entirely different story. But I made sure that the topic was something that my audience was struggling with, so my existing audience at the time, and that's something people were willing to invest in. So validating that ebook idea is super important. Sometimes it's as simple as just listening to the questions that you're getting, looking at your blog comments or email replies that people are asking. Or I actually sent out a survey to ask my audience. And sure, it was more focused on the idea that I initially had, and I was like, whoa, people people might want that, but it's not their main focus. It's not what they are at the moment. So I made sure to create that ebook first.
Yeah, and that's so important to ask your audience, because a lot of times as business owners, it's like we have one perspective on our business, we have one perspective on our audience, and then it's like we think that we know. And then all of a sudden you start asking them, like I did a survey maybe like a year ago and about an idea that I was thinking of. And I was like, whoa, people need this. People will pay me money for this. I love this idea. It's genius. I put it out there and that is not what people wanted at all. And like my ego was so hurt. I was like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I'm like all like upset about it. But at the same time, it's like, you really have to ask these people so that you can get their perspective, because they're going to be the people that you're helping. They're going to be the people that are essentially handing you money to get your information on it. So that's super important.
Yeah. And I think with surveys, it's important to remember that people will likely say yes, that if you ask, are you willing to pay for this? They'll say yes. But between that and actually taking action and taking their wallet out, there's a difference. So if you really want to make sure that people are paying for this, a great idea is to pre-sell your ebook. So before you create it, if you have an outline of it and you know exactly what you're going to teach people, pitch it to your audience, even a small number, like if you have an email list, and just look at the conversion rate. I think if like 2% of it buy into it, then you're golden. It's good. It doesn't have to be half of your list, but you have to make sure that people actually put down the money for it. So pre-selling it and saying, oh, get this now for like kind of an early bird price, and you'll get the ebook in 2 weeks or whatever it is. Probably you're going to need more time to put this together, but it's just an idea.
Yeah.
Then you're going to figure out, okay, people are actually interested in paying money for this.
Wow, that is a really good idea. Just playing devil's advocate here, what if, let's say, only 2 people take you up on the pre-sale offer? And then you're like, oh, what? So these 2 people want it, but not everybody wants it. So now I have to create this whole thing for 2 people?
You would set a goal for yourself that would make it worthwhile. So you can say to people when you pitch it, if this is not going to get enough, pre-sale purchases, then I'm not going to create it, and you're going to refund the money. You need to make that really clear to them. Or it could be a matter of, and I tell people this, maybe you have this idea and it's great, but it doesn't transpire, or people don't understand why they need it. It's not like they don't need it, but for example, with writing and selling ebooks, I have a course about it, and I actually had to do a lot of educating to my audience to tell them this is what ebooks do for people. This is what you need it. And it's not just about the money, like the exposure that it gives you, the credibility that it gives you. It's insane. So I kind of had to educate my audience about it. So I did pre-sell it, and actually it went pretty well, but I still needed to do before that, like I wrote a blog post series, I like sent emails about it, and I just tell people kind of, okay, this is why you need this. Because people, they might not understand that that's what they need. You're not really imposing it on them. You're just educating them, basically.
Anna, I love talking to you because your ideas, they make so much more sense. It's like, okay, so let's say that you do a pre-sale and only 2 people buy it. It's like, that might not also be a sign that people don't need it. It might be a sign that they don't realize that they need it. So it's kind of like, you have to go with your gut on it, and maybe bounce the idea off of, other online business owners that, have a similar audience than you. Maybe they've seen some insight or can give you some feedback on your idea. That might be a really good way to kind of figure out if this is a dud, or if you should just keep going with it and end up educating your audience.
Yeah. You could also kind of be a little bit sneaky and just validate your idea by seeing if similar products sell. Like if there's a need for it, maybe those people who need it are not in your audience yet. Or like when I got started, I just had this like random giveaways and other stuff. And people that were on my list at the time weren't my ideal audience either. So I was like pitching to the wrong people basically. And in time, I grew my audience to make sure that those people are on my list. So just kind of figuring out, are other people selling this? Is this going well? Then there's a need for it. And are those people who are going to buy this in my audience already? Or do I need to build up my list or following a little bit before?
Yeah. So it's like there's a whole lot of introspection, I guess, that has to go on with this in order to make that final decision, especially on the ebook idea.
Yeah.
So what are things that people should consider that maybe aren't obvious to somebody that's just starting out? Or like, what do you think the biggest misconception is that people have about ebooks?
I think one of them is just the idea of publishing them in the first place. They think that they need this publishing agency to sign them, or they need to have a book deal, or that it's impossible to get on Amazon and you need to be an actual author. But I think self-published authors are just 100% authors as well. You don't. The basic thing, the answer to that question is you don't need this big book deal. You don't need an agency to sign you. Self-publishing is doing amazing, and people are really taking advantage of it. For example, to publish your ebook on Amazon is completely free. You need to kind of obey by the rules a little bit. They have certain guidelines and what do you call them for ebooks, like formatting purposes. You need to kind of complete those guidelines to be able to publish your ebook, but they're like, you don't even need to have like a massive audience or prove it to them. Like, you can get your ebook published on Amazon, and with that you can actually, if you if you do a paperback version of it as well, and you have the right kind of dimensions for the ebook, they can distribute it further to like Apple Ebooks, Barnes and Nobles. Like you can have your
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that.
You can have your physical book in actual places. Like you might
and
need
all by self-publishing. Like I could literally be like, people need this, so I want people to have it. And then like I could, obviously following guidelines and formatting things, but it's like I could make that happen without having some big wig from New York City invest in my idea. Like we all think that happens, with all authors.
Exactly. So you can definitely be out there, and it can do great things for your exposure and credibility. And yeah, that's the thing that people don't know. You don't need to be a big fancy author to be on Amazon. And I'm kind of blowing my cover here because I just launched an Amazon ebook. Yeah, it's that easy.
That's awesome. Would you mind shooting over like the resource or like the link for more information that you found, maybe that you read in order to find out, from going from like Amazon to Barnes and Noble, getting them like published paperback or whatever at the end of this thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. That would be so cool. Okay, well, that's really mind-blowing because I had no idea about that. So basically, when it comes to selling your ebooks, what's the biggest issue that you ran into?
Ooh, good question. Let me think about it. When writing the ebook or when publishing the ebook?
Selling it.
Okay.
Or creating it.
Okay. I think for me, it was a matter of kind of choosing the right platform, because I was like a new blogger, and I was making some money when I published my first ebook, but not a lot. I was like, okay, what do I need to make this happen? And it was really a matter of like all these resources that people were talking about, like lead pages and something else, were kind of out of my budget at the time. So as I said, I had to come up with really affordable ways to do it. And those options are out there. So that's awesome. But I had to make sure that it was something that I could, consistently follow up with. And I needed something that would match all my needs in terms of selling that ebook. So I knew I wanted to have an affiliate program, for example. I also knew that I might need to collect some tax information and whatever, like I needed to have flexibility when creating the sales page for the ebook. So I kind of needed a tool that would fit with all those things. And yeah, like choosing the right tool at the beginning was a big choice, but I went with Sendowl after all, and it was actually a great choice because it allowed me to do all these things and put everything in like one place. And they also kind of deliver the ebook automatically. So I think that's another misconception that people have when they don't understand quite how it works. When people buy your ebook, you have to send it manually. Like, no, there are tools that do that for you. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I've used Send. I'm actually a part of your affiliate program, so I have a Sendowl account too. So I will go ahead and link to Sendowl as a resource for people that are maybe looking to sell their ebooks, looking to maybe join your affiliate program or purchase your ebooks. I'll leave all of those links to the blog post too. Sendowl is really, really great. There's, like you said, a ton of options, but at the same time, maybe the biggest issue is figuring out which option actually works for you and your needs. And I feel like that is a great thing about the internet, is that there's always different solutions to problems. But that is also the overwhelming thing about the internet, is that there's always different solutions to your problems. So just hearing your feedback on, certain software that you use is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think just finding the tools in general, not even for selling it, but everything else that comes together, that's like something that requires kind of a lot of research. You need something to put the ebook together and to format it and to design it. So with that in mind, I actually created a little free, sorry about that, a little free resource library for ebook authors. It's called the Ebook Authors Starter Pack. And maybe I can share the link to that, but it's like free and you can all the kind of tools.
That would be totally awesome. That is so, Sarah, I just cut you off because I was super stoked about the fact that you said that. So what is in the starter pack, you said?
I just list every single tool that I use for every process of the ebook creation process. So from writing it, I use tools that I write or proofread or whatever, to designing it and the cover and the sales page, and to actually selling it. So those tools are categorized and you can actually see what I use. Some of them are free, some of them are not. And just like, it might help you make your like decisions a little bit easier.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely takes a whole lot of overwhelm off of the plate. So like, instead of you sitting on Google trying to figure everything out, Anna has all of the resources and the guys all put into one really great starter pack. That's awesome. I'm really glad that you put that together. And I wish that I had that 2 years ago when I made my first ebook. So which website platform do you use?
WordPress, that's what I mean for the website.
Okay, yeah. So did you have to do anything special to your website in order to get like Send Owl to work with that?
No, they integrate quite easily. They pretty much generate links, and those are kind of purchase links or add to cart links. And I just have them on my sales page. I just needed a way to create sales pages that look like sales pages. So I had to find a page builder within WordPress, and I actually love Elementor. I think I'm saying that right. It's free to use. You have a pro option, but I just use a free option, and it is a bit of a learning curve just because it's not your regular drag and drop. It is drag and drop, but it also has like other functions and features that you might need to like learn about a little bit. But I just use that for my sales pages, and it's so easy. Like I just have templates for my sales pages at this point, and I just copy and paste them.
Yeah, Elementor, I've used it on quite a few client sites that want a little bit more like an easy way to go ahead and update their own sites, or like if they want to change something in their design, or if they want to duplicate and create more pages. Elementor is such a great tool, and it might be, you know, like a slight learning curve like you said, but ultimately you can save these blocks, you can save these layouts, and you can reuse them. So that, like, let's say that you create 75 ebooks, which, I mean, yeah, we're just going to go with that number. Let's say that you create 75 of them, and like, you don't want to go ahead and create 75 sales pages. You don't have to. You can literally just use the same template and then swap out your text, and then swap out, what was it, the links from Send Owl?
Links, and then the images or whatever else you're using.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and then link to Elementor in the blog post. I feel like we're going through so many different resources that people are going to love.
Yeah, like you probably have a lot of resources on your own website about building sales pages and stuff, which is like your areas of expertise. So, because I interviewed you on it actually.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like how to, we actually went through an interview that went through like how to use SEO to get your website traffic up for your sales pages. How can people access that interview? That's in a course that you have, right?
That is in my course, ebook bestseller bootcamp. So it's actually a course about creating and launching an ebook. But I just interviewed a bunch of people that talk about stuff like that I'm like, I do myself, but I'm like not quite there. So yeah, it's like good content.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So, you know, if viewers that are watching this interview, if you guys are really serious about finding out more information about ebooks, go and check thesheapproach.com, because she has a bunch of free information. But also, like, if you really don't want to deal with like the guesswork of figuring out how to create and publish an ebook, Anna has an awesome course that I can go ahead and link in the blog post too, if you guys just want to check it out. And then you will also get access to the interview that me and her had about building the SEO traffic to the sales page. So, okay, in retrospect, if you could do everything all over again, knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently?
Oh, so many things. I think a lot of people just see that question and say, no, because it got me where I'm here today. But actually, I've spent like a year plus perfecting my process for writing ebooks, like writing them quickly and writing them good so it makes sense for people. Because like, I wanted to be an author, but I wasn't an author. That's something that I needed to learn from writing blog posts, writing an actual ebook that people can follow and that it makes sense to them. So that's something I needed to learn. And like, you know, I needed a lot of feedback on my ebooks to be able to improve them. From that to like launching and preparing for the launch, instead of just like, here's my ebook, dropping it out of the sky and hoping people would buy it.
Yeah, and you're like, well, I just published it, so like I'm gonna get a bunch of sales right now, right?
Yeah. So a lot about that I needed to kind of learn and improve my process, and that's why I was like, I'm so passionate about the ebook bestseller bootcamp course, because I put everything that I learned and every single process that goes into it into like one place and one resource. And it's definitely a lot of, that's it. It's just a lot of research. If you want to publish an ebook on your own, you can totally do it. I did it, like people do it. And you might not even need to invest in training, but it's gonna take you time to learn and figure out things. And if somebody had a course like this when I came out, then I think it would have saved me so much time into, rather than just fumbling along in the dark and hoping I make sales, to figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that people find my ebook, to make sure that people are here when I launch it, to make sure that people who are interested in it are on my list, and all the great things that go into the process that nobody tells you about or teaches you in school for that matter.
Yeah, there's so many different working parts that go into it that I'm sure that you touch on in the course. So yeah, if you guys want to save time, check out the course. So has focusing on ebooks helped you grow your business online? Like, did it open any opportunities that maybe you didn't expect?
Oh my God, yes, so many. Besides the great part and the obvious part, which is passive income. So you only create an ebook once and then you keep making money from it. Whoop, whoop. So that was great, because I think I was on vacation when I had like my first $1,000 a week or something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm it. I'm like that kind of spammy ad that you see on Facebook, and like, you want to be on a beach and still earn money.
I literally just had like 7 different ads of like that exact phrase like pop through my head. That's hilarious.
Yes. So I was like, oh my God, I made it happen. Okay. Like, it's possible with like the time, like really small blog and stuff, and like one or two, no, I think it was just like that one ebook or something, but it was like, oh my God, this is so great. It's happening. But besides that, like income part and passive income, which is really great. And it allowed me to just focus on other things in my business. So I don't always have to like, work for the money. Cause I was like, again, in school working, I had a puppy, alive. So besides that, it opened a lot of opportunities for me to collaborate with people and get found. My first ebook was included in this awesome like blogging bundle. And that really grew my exposure. So a lot of people kind of found me through that. And obviously I was a contributor to that. My ebook, my training was in it. So it was like, I got an audience that already believed that I was kind of an expert in my niche, if you will. And I think after my Amazon ebook launched, which is again, a book for beginners, is not even like aimed at kind of solopreneurs necessarily, is more aimed at bloggers, but that really helped me grow my visibility online. So I was like, I think I was part of 4 summits in the first like 3 months of this year alone.
Oh, wow. So that's like a lot.
Yeah, like really big summits as well. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty proud of that. So, yeah. So it really opened a lot of opportunities for me to collaborate with people and just be featured in places that I probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. So it's like growing not only your community, but like it's growing kind of like your connections with other people and like complementing niches and like in the industry all together. So that's really awesome. You get to like meet people and talk to them and pick their brain, and then like growing your community and like you said, like your passive income, which is also really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that social media is a huge platform, is a huge like part of growing an online business. So can you highlight one thing that you do on one of your favorite platforms that really helps your business grow and your ebook sell?
Ooh, good one. I think for me it's really Pinterest. Pinterest has been the key to me growing my blog when I was a tiny baby, and to getting people to find me, because when you have a new blog, SEO is like super huge, and I'm still learning and implementing it. But I feel like it takes so much for Google to trust your website, especially when you're not at it full time. So you can put out super quality content all the time. So it takes a while to build that trust with Google, but you still want people to find you rather than on Instagram when they just scroll by and you hope they want to learn about blogging. You want people to find you when they search for you. And Pinterest really does that for me because it's actually a search engine, and a lot of people go on it to search ideas, search for inspiration. And I ranked in there, my pins ranked in there a lot quicker than on like Google or whatever. So that helped me grow like my audience. And eventually, of course, my ebook sales, because I promote a lot of my ebooks through my content or, through my email funnels or whatever else. But I needed people to get to my website first.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's a really, really important, thing that you just said, is that Google and SEO, it does take a lot of time. And like clients, like my clients, for example, they do want to show up in search results right away, but it does take time. Like for SEO, there's over 200 ranking factors, and Google right off the bat does not trust your website right away. There are a lot of things that you have to do organically in order to get the trust up with Google, because essentially Google only shows or links to websites that they trust and that they think people are going to find answers on.
Yeah.
So in order for Google to think that, it's like it takes time. So, but Pinterest, being found on Pinterest, getting website traffic from Pinterest is actually helping Google also trust you more. So it's like a double bonus here. So you're getting this website traffic from people on Pinterest that are searching for you, and Google sees that, they're like, oh, the website traffic is up, people are spending more time on her website reading her content, they must like her content, so that are extra points for Google's SEO. So that's really, really important. I could talk like a full this full series on like SEO and Pinterest and how they like work together in this perfect little magical situation. Okay, so if you could give people one actionable tip about creating or selling ebooks, what would it be?
I think you just need to, like, the thing is, we all have ideas, and I feel like I had so many ideas for projects and ebooks, but the thing that really mattered was writing the ebook and having it done. So if I had to give people one tip, would be just write that damn ebook. But in terms of practicality, just start with the outline. I think a lot of people just get so overwhelmed by, I have to write this super big ebook and it has to have all the information that I own and I have and I possess. Not really. It just needs to take people from like that point where you're getting them from to point A to point B. And then you just need to figure out their journey and exactly what needs to go into that ebook to make that happen. So outlining the ebooks and figuring out, okay, I'm going to have 4 chapters or 5. This is what's going to go into each chapter. And then, if you want to be sneaky about it, because you can, just use content that you already have. Because at that point, I had so many blog posts and emails that I sent out. So pretty much I copy paste everything. I placed it all together. I figured out what was missing, and then I just went and overhauled it all so it made sense, so it flows. And that saved me so much time when creating that ebook and the next ebook and so on.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely repurpose your content. And that's also a really good way to kind of validate your idea too, because it's like the content that is already on your blog. So you already have readers that are interested in this. Like, so take a look at your blog content. Maybe if you're even coming up with an idea, take a look at your blog content, take a look at your Google Analytics and see which of your already written blog posts are getting the most traffic, which one is getting the most like Pinterest shares and things like that. And then you know that people are already coming to you for that information. So why not give them the full solution to a problem that they're having based on that topic?
Yes.
And then don't overwhelm them, or don't overwhelm yourself with like the full idea of it either. Like, break it up into chunks. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to lock yourself in a cabin in the woods for 3 weeks and hammer out this entire ebook from chapter 1 until chapter 20. Like, you can break it up into little chunks, outline it, repurpose your content, make it easy on yourself.
Yeah. think don't overwhelm them is also right, because I feel like when you create something and that you make yourself and you write yourself, you feel like, oh my God, this has to be so great because, you know, it's your baby. And then you just want to put everything that you know about a topic in there. And like, I did the same with my course, and I was like, I just want to give people everything, just have them all. But the thing is, that's not really helpful to people. You just need to give them the information that they need to be able to take the next step and the step after that. And it just, you don't have to give them everything and write about everything. Just needs to be useful to people and be actionable, because that's what you want to do. You want to have an impact. And that's why I love writing ebooks so much, because it's like, it's having an impact on like my readers' life. But that's not possible if you're overwhelming them as well in the process. So, you know, just give them the information that they need to get from that point A to point B.
Yeah, so don't overwhelm yourself, and don't overwhelm your readers. We want no overwhelm in this entire process.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So I think that we went through a whole bunch of resources and recommendations in this video. So I will be sure to link to all of those in the blog post that accompanies this video, so viewers can easily access them. So now the last and probably most important question is, where can people find you online and connect with you?
Awesome. So I am over at thesheapproach.com. My social media handle for everything is the She Approach, because I'm a proper blogger. The same handle for everything. But yeah, if you go over to my website, my homepage kind of breaks it down. So whatever you need to learn, there are going to be resources linked in there. But I'll give you a little hint. Some of my best content goes over to my email list. So if you don't want to miss on any goodies, just find a link. It's one on my homepage. It's one on pretty much every page for you to join my email list in a way, because I'm sending out some real gems over there.
Yeah, I would definitely support that. I am a part of your email list, and I look forward to your tips every Tuesday, especially like your Pinterest stuff. I know that you are like a whiz with Pinterest, and I just love learning like the little nuggets of information without having to leave my inbox. It's always really great to see your email pop in.
Thank you.
But Anna, I just want to thank you for being a guest on the Work the Web interview series. I think that we went over so much like helpful information for people that are curious about using ebooks to help create passive income and ultimately grow their business. And I think that you broke down a lot of things that'll help cut that overwhelm, because it sounds like such a huge overwhelming idea. Like if I had $1 for every time I said overwhelm in this video, I would have a whole bunch of money. But yeah, I think that this information is really, really helpful. So guys, if you're watching, make sure that you click on the resources that she mentioned. Take a look at the e-course that she created. It really is insanely valuable. And then also make sure that you check out the other interviews in this Work the Web series, because I've talked to a lot of really helpful online business owners, and they give so much insanely valuable tips on what they focused on that has helped them grow their business in ways that work for them. So if you guys enjoyed the video, just give it a super quick thumbs up for me. And if you have any questions for me or for Anna, go ahead and comment them right below in the video or on the blog post. But other than that, we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.